Good day to you, Fred. I'm going to go through some procedures of various sorts. The first one will be when you receive the machine, this will have some material in there, hoses, fittings, we'll go through there. Let me show you the piece that plugs into here. This is the diffuser on the end. It goes up to a connector here, so that if you need be, you could remove the top from it and leave the stone in there. The stone has to go through a narrowing right here on the cylinder. The fitting, I don't use glue on these because people can smell it. This hose is larger than this fitting right here. It'll fit in there tight enough, snaps in there. Now, this can scratch the inside there, so try to minimize that. You should do it when it's got water in there. Went in real easy there. Now, if we snap this on, it does have a little bit of resistance there. Preferably, the stone would hang right in the middle right there, giving an inch or so from the bottom. That'll give the best effects with the harmonics and strange noises. When you bubble the water, you're going to connect the water into the hose where it goes down. This hose here is where it comes out. The hoses that we'll be using are 8mm hoses, and they plug in here and here on the machine, basically in all points. While I have it in my hand, I'll explain the medical hoses are a little bit smaller, but you can spread this one and stick that in there. Now you have this medical size converted to the size that I use. And that would plug in here, and you would have water that's being bubbled as you breathe it. Where it says out on the left-hand side of the machine is where the gas exits the system. Push it until it locks. Come back up here to the side with the hose. And if the machine was turned on now, you would be having a lot of bubbles coming out of there. Now, 10 minutes is fine. 20 might be even a little better. After you're finished bubbling it, what I do is disconnect both hoses and loop a hose from here to here. I'll give you a bunch of extra hose, and you can do it, or I can even cut you a piece right now. These also turn and swivel. Now the system's sealed, and if you wanted to drink water, you pop it off right here and close it and have cold molecular hydrogen water. Best antioxidant in the world. Now, I hope that made sense to you. When you breathe the gas, you can breathe it directly from the machine, but I prefer you breathe it through this right here on the opposite end here so that you get an extra filtration. And coming into breathing now, you're going to have questions on this and we'll be on the phone, but these are some things that you can go back to. This is one that covers your nose and mouth. And the other ones have 2 tubes that go in your mouth, which I'll go through. I've already put an end on this, reducing it to the size used for, expanded it for the size we use. So you could use this to filter it a final time before breathing it. This would plug in on the outside the machine would plug in where the bubbler is, and you have gas to breathe right here. Okay. If you don't like that style, the other one, the nose catheter, is this style you've seen, which is most popular with oxygen patients. I washed these in water, and there's still some water left in them, and the best way to get the water out of them is to spin them like this with any of these hoses, and the moisture will come out of it. Now, the findings in science indicate that less gas is needed for breathing. And there's a couple of methods that I'm working on, but the best method and the easiest method right now involves this. I'm going to make a separate, more detailed video on this with another machine in the days to come, so that by the time you get the machine, you can have this advanced thing. But let's say we're going to breathe the gas, and it's going to be exiting out of the area with opposite the stone. And we would plug this in here. We would now be breathing the gas, and as the gas comes out of the container to breathe, it goes into a divider here. Why? And this is a vent. By adjusting this in or out, we control the amount of gas going to the nose catheter exactly. And then when we find where we want it, we can lock it down. As the rule we'll use, we want 1/2 of whatever this machine's production is used for breathing. We have a meter that we can use for that, but I quite honestly have found it easier to take this piece right here and put it in a glass of water, and you'll see the bubbles coming out quite vigorously, and adjust this to, in your opinion, you're at 1/2 or less. And it works very well. And then you're at a reduced levels, and you can safely breathe the gas. No one in the industry has even recognized this, and we sure don't want anybody getting hurt. Now, the cases of anybody having problems comes from static discharge. This is a wristband that you'll receive. I'll send you a couple of them, and they're one size fits all. They have a metal insert in the inside right here that grounds to your body. And you would just slide it on, and the machine is grounded through any portion of this metal right here. On the side of the machine is a spacer, and that spacer is made so you can just grab onto it. Now you are static free. You will not be able to worry about static discharge. And these are available in different lengths. I'm not encouraging people at all to breathe this gas. I breathe it overnight while you're asleep. A lot of people are, and I can't get them to stop. A lot of them are doctors, but I don't recommend it. All right, now, on this cylinder right here, inside it is a special stone. And this stone, this is screwed in the bottom, and it sticks up from inside. And this piece right here is pressure fitted in there, and bubbles come out of it, In the middle here, it goes, and on the side, one goes without any bubbles. The reason I mention this is I've had this come out in shipping before. This one's not correct. I don't have the secondary thing, but it's in there quite tight. So what I've done is I've taken a pair of chopsticks and adjusted the width of them and went through this hole on top all the way down, and the chopsticks are pushing on the top of this thing down. The chopsticks, I had to push them in very hard because the width of them I calibrated to the opening of this. And you can see them inside there, and they're pushing down. So when you get the machine, remove the tape. It doesn't leave a mark. And you're going to pull and wiggle the chopstick out. It won't be hard. After the chopstick is out, we're going to go back with an elbow fitting. And I'm going to send you extra ones of these. I'm having problem with them cracking right here. That's the one that cracked on yours that leaked out the fluid, but it's because this went all the way back over and hit. This one here, they pressure tested at 120 PSI. There is an O-ring in there, and it's a newer design I'm supposed to try. But anyway, the threads on there are very good. It's easy to start it. Just be careful that you get it started straight and tighten it down. Don't over tighten. Well, you want to try to get it flush, but not super hard. Hold this right here.
Where?
The cylinder is going to be mounted right here, and you're going to hold it with your hand here. And with your hand here, you're going to tighten it and keep tightening it until hopefully you don't see too many threads. Oh, that's fine. It's not having less than 2 PSI, so that's how that works. I'm also going to send you some Teflon tape that you could make a layer around that. I don't know if you've ever worked with Teflon tape before, but I got a feeling you have. These particular fittings that I use from China already come with Teflon. You can see on the tips there. And this newer one, it's got the white Teflon already built on there. So, but if they're used a couple times, it's helpful to put one loop of Teflon tape, which you'll get in your box. All right, so you'll remove your tape, you'll pull out the chopstick, you'll screw this in. After you screw it in, you'll have a hose up here. You'll disconnect this plug by compressing this, pushing in, pulling out. You'll plug this into here, or actually here on the blue. It's the same as over here, and you're set. Now, again, your funnel right here has reduced this to a very small hole. I put a secondary clamp on here yesterday, but it works quite well in filling the machine. If you just, some stick in a little easier, but because the hose is small, you have to pour a little slower. On the back, it is possible to fill it up with a full 8mm hose, but then you would have to disconnect this one to vent it off. So I find it easier just to use this and use one fitting. Now, this morning I drained the tanks. I think we did some pictures of that yesterday. It worked out fine. Okay, on the generator here, there is a draining tube that can be used to drain this tank. However, it's hidden from view of most people. I think that until I can personally show you how to do that, the easiest way to drain it is to turn this hose sideways, disconnect this, put in a long hose here, and turn the machine on its side, which I took some pictures of showing it, and it'll make sense. Lay a towel down, put the machine on its side, and I have the order that you do in terms of things. You're not going to have to flush this for quite a while. You'll simply take your additive and put it in the 2-liter container here before the water, and then put in your 1 liter, and leave this off and screw this on. Let it sit for half hour, then put this back on, shake it a little bit. Best to let it sit overnight. And then you're going to put it in your machine right here with your funnel. All your filling will be done on the chrome or the stainless steel fittings. You'll remove the plug and stick in your funnel and pour in slowly. Your levels right here with the machine shut off, not running, I would like to see the water level about where the first mark is, no higher. This is the maximum level I want the water to be. The machine's set to set the fans off at 100 degrees. The fans go off at 99 degrees. It holds the temperature within 1 degree. When you get the machine, make sure that you immediately turn both valves forward. If you lock one of these valves forward with a tie, you never have to worry about it, and you can use one valve back and forth. For instance, if you tie this valve here in this position, you could go plasma, or you could go gas, and anything in the middle would be a mix. There's some advantages both ways, but the main thing is do not, in any condition, turn both of them like this and completely stop the ability for the gas to get out. So I'll leave it up to you whether you want to lock it down or make sure that you've always got it straight. Where it says plasma right here, if these were both straight, that would give you plasma with large bubbles. If you pushed it over here, you'd have gas with small bubbles. I'm going to go more into the flow meter. I want to get this thing off quicker. This thing here measures the gas on the side, but for what we're going to be doing mainly, we'll do a water test with it. I'm going to send you the 2 size hoses that we use. 8mm is the standard hose size for basically everything. The hose side for draining these right here is smaller, and I'm sending you a roll of it so that you don't mix it up. You want to use this just for draining stuff. Well, but that's the only reason you use it. But it goes on the side right here and plugs in. And this is 1/4 inch OD, or I think it's 6mm, 4mm. And the other bigger one is 8mm or 5/16. You're going to have some questions, Fred, and we'll get them answered. The main thing is to get it shipped off. Oh, one thing back here. I'll explain in depth why we're still using plastic on the covers, as we're going to a stainless steel and not just aluminum. I had the plate out here I was going to show you. This is the type of material that the inside uses as things, and this is what we're going to have to go to, because this is impervious to any kind of staining, and I spent too much time polishing this from boo-boos. And we're making the plates now as we speak that will be using this metal. These plates are very strong. I've reinforced them with a thick bound of plastic. They're double taped right here on this side. They don't go anywhere. They just block the wind. If they do come out during shipping, they slide in on this piece right here, and they connect in the middle with a fit like that. They're pressure fit in there. That's the way I like things. They don't move because tolerances are right. The fans are held in with no screws. On this ledge right here, they rest, and the pressure of this pushing in there makes them a very solid fan. To get them out, you put a hand here and a hand here, and just spring this apart, and they pop right out, and you're able to get in there and inspect something if we think we have a problem. On the back of it, it's pretty much self-explanatory. There's the power supply, and I'm hoping that this doesn't get wrecked. The last one that came back from you, this thing was crossways, and this was broke here. The machine now has legs here. Looking at it, I think I should have put the big end on the top and the small end down, but it's hard to find good help. I've taped up everything I think that could possibly leak with plugs on it and stuff. These hoses here don't have anything in them, so I'm not worried about it. I think, come over on this side, Jason, here. If you look here, Fred, I have a little white clip that holds this hose in place. I'm going to bend it back just enough to get the hose out there so that in shipping it can lay a little flatter, but that's where it goes, and you can push that back to hold it in. These things up here could bend over. Pay particular attention when you get it that this isn't cracked in any way. If it is, you have replacements in the container. We'll do this in steps. The main thing is get the machine to you without it breaking. Now, this temperature controller that you see right here, I'm putting that there. Keep focused on that, Jason, while I get something. That controller there allows you to easily set the temperature of where the fans come on and such. It reads in Fahrenheit. All other gauges read in Celsius, which is harder for me. These would be the brain that I would normally use, and this would be mounted behind the dashboard here and not seen, not easily adjustable, and in Celsius, and not reliable. I've been using these for 5 years. I've never had a failure. They're in Celsius. They're very easy to read and see. And the reason for it is there's some special things you can do with plasma at special temperatures. And we'll go more into that, but there is a need to be able to precisely control temperatures. Now, as we use the machine, we might change the amount of gas that it produces, and that is adjustable by removing the front cover. I doubt if we ever would, but it's, boy, that thing's light with the water on. But if you look through here, you'll be able to see inside there an LED display that'll show the amperage that the system is pulling. And it's quite interesting. When you turn on the machine, it might not reach operating temperatures immediately, and the light will blink. And when the light stays on steady, you're at full operating temperatures. Not that you couldn't still use it. Now these are something I'll just show you while we're talking so you get an idea. This is the same computer board here that we're using, but this is something we have here where we can turn it and adjust the amperage and then hold it in with a lock and such. But it doesn't have numerical display or letter display, just numbers. I don't like it. I told them, redesign. And this is the new displayer that I'm hoping to get in action. And it'll have numbers, and it could say raised chiropractic, date and time, with the USB connector in it, so that all of the information that is processed within the machine can be printed, and it'll make a nice addition. Okay. I don't know much more to say for right now, Fred. I want to get the machine to you in good condition, the rest of it with some more videos and written material as well. This is the first machine to have the valves on the side here, and I've since told them I want these valves to go through and come out with threads big enough on the end to put a second nut to lock it down so they don't count on just the threads here. And I'm waiting for those. Now, on this machine here, on this top case right here, this is not glued on. This is pressure fit on with Teflon tape. In the event of an explosion, this would pop off. And it's a safety precaution. And it is possible that you might see a leak there, but very seldom. And that's easily fixable too. So I guess we'll sign off for now, Fred. And best wishes to you and your missus. I know that the machine may not be as handsome as you like, but there's certainly more uglier ones out there. But the main thing is that this machine has provided relief to a lot of people, and we have them coming up with thousands of hours of operation on the machine. And that is the most important thing, is what the machine will do. For cosmetics, it's going to end up going in a stainless steel box. The attention to detail to try to put all these pieces together is quite intensive. However, the science that you're able to observe through these two clear chambers and the increased filtration that they give is beyond description of anything that's out there. Is such a joke. So I'll say good night, good day, and we'll be in touch.